The night was too quiet for comfort, the kind of silence that makes the air feel heavier than it should. A thin layer of fog drifted across the 2-lane highway, cutting through rural Iowa. The only sound was the hum of an old SUV as 4 college friends, Emma, Jess, Cole, and Dane, headed toward a forgotten piece of farmland they'd found online. The plan was simple: drive out to the abandoned property, known locally as the Harvest House, take some photos, maybe film a vlog, and crash at a nearby motel. They'd been on the road for 5 hours, fueled by cheap coffee, bad music, and the thrill of breaking into some place they weren't supposed to be. "Are we sure this is the right place?" Jess asked, leaning forward from the back seat as the GPS flickered. Cole grinned. "It's the only thing for miles. Can't miss it." According to Reddit, Dane added, "People used to say the crops here grew year-round, like the land never stopped feeding itself." Emma laughed softly. Creepy. Perfect for Halloween content. But her laugh didn't last long. The road narrowed into a dirt path, lined with cornfields that looked more like a sea of withered bones than anything alive. The stock stood taller than the SUV, grey and brittle, and they didn't sway with the wind. They just stood there, rigid, as if watching the car pass. When they reached the front gate, the engine coughed twice and died. Cole turned the key again. "Nothing, probably just flooded," he muttered. "Or maybe it doesn't want us here," Jess teased. But her voice wavered at the end. They stepped out of the car, the gravel crunching under their boots. The air felt colder than before, and the fog hung low, brushing against their ankles. A wooden sign swung from a rusted chain above the gate. The faded words barely read, "The harvest never ends." Sounds like a marketing slogan from hell, Dane joked. Emma lifted her phone to record, panning across the fields. The camera light cut through the mist, catching on something that glimmered briefly, a shape between the rows of corn. When she zoomed in, it was gone. "Did anyone see that?" she whispered. "See what?" Jess asked. "Nothing," Emma said quickly. Probably just reflection. But she didn't stop recording. They pushed through the creaking gate, the hinges screaming like something alive. The farmhouse stood in the distance. 2 stories, half collapsed, windows shattered, roof eaten by moss. A silo leaned beside it, tilted like it might give up and fall at any moment. The closer they walked, the thicker the smell became, an earthy, damp rot that clung to their clothes. Jess covered her nose. "Smells like something died out here. Maybe a raccoon or something," Dane said, though even he sounded unsure. Cole led the way, flashlight in one hand, crowbar in the other. "Let's make this quick," he said. "Film, explore, get out." Inside, the air was stale, suffocating. Dust floated through their lights like tiny restless spirits. The floorboards groaned under their weight, and faded wallpaper peeled away in long strips, exposing the bones of the house beneath. "Look at this," Jess said, pointing to a photo frame half buried in debris. It showed a family, father, mother, 2 kids, standing proudly in front of the same farmhouse. But their faces were burned away, blackened like the film had melted. "Okay, that's actually freaky," Emma whispered. They moved deeper into the house. Every sound seemed amplified. The drip of water from a broken pipe, the soft creak of wood, their own breathing. Somewhere upstairs, a door slammed shut. Cole froze. Did anyone just... "Probably the wind," Dane offered. But there was no wind. They reached the back of the farmhouse, where a half-open door led to the backyard. Beyond it lay the fields, stretching endlessly under the pale moonlight. Something about the stillness made it impossible to look away. Then, Emma spotted it, a square shape half buried near the edge of the porch. A trapdoor, its hinges rusted, wooden planks covered in a thin layer of soil. "What the hell is that?" she asked. Cole knelt, brushing off dirt with his sleeve. Root cellar maybe. Old farms had them for storage. Jess crouched beside him. Or maybe it's where they buried something. Her tone was half joking, but no one laughed. The silence pressed harder. Cole pried the door open with the crowbar. It gave way with a sharp crack, releasing a wave of air that smelled of mold and something else. Metallic, like old blood. A narrow staircase disappeared into darkness. Jesus, Dane muttered. That's deep. Emma leaned closer, phone light trembling in her hand. We have to go down there. Cole gave her a look. You're serious? Yeah, she said. That's where the story is. For a few seconds, no one moved. Then Dane exhaled, shook his head, and started down the stairs. Fine, but if we die, I'm haunting you. The steps groaned under their feet. The deeper they went, the colder it became. The walls were dirt and stone, damp to the touch. At the bottom was a single wooden door, hanging off one hinge. Cole pushed it open, and his flashlight beam swept across a long, low room, lined with old farming tools, rusted scythes, shovels, and sacks of dried corn. Except it wasn't just corn. The smell was stronger now, sweet and sour, like rot. Jess pointed toward a row of scarecrows, propped against the far wall. There were at least 6 of them, wearing old flannel shirts and straw hats. Why would anyone keep those down here? She whispered. Emma stepped closer, shining her light on one of the faces. Her stomach turned. It wasn't made of burlap. It was skin, stretched tight over a skull-shaped frame. The lips were stitched shut with wire. Guys, she said, voice breaking. The others joined her, realization dawning in their eyes. Dane stumbled backward. That's not possible. Cole's flashlight flickered. For an instant, the light dimmed and came back on, just long enough for them to see that the scarecrows had changed positions. They were facing the wall. Jess gasped. A sudden thud echoed above them. The trapdoor. They turned as one, staring up into the darkness. The sound came again, this time heavier. Then silence. Cole. Emma whispered. Did you close it? He shook his head. No one did. The light flickered again. The air felt thicker, harder to breathe. From somewhere deep in the cellar came a low rumble, like the ground itself was alive. Dane lifted his phone, recording instinctively. What the hell is that sound? No one answered. The rumble grew louder. Dust fell from the ceiling in slow drifts. Then, faintly, beneath the noise, they heard it, soft, rhythmic, like a heartbeat pulsing through the floor. Emma's voice barely escaped her lips. The land is breathing. The heartbeat grew faster, louder, until it filled the room. The lights from their phones began to dim, one by one. Jess grabbed Emma's hand. We need to go, now. Cole lunged toward the stairs. The trapdoor above them slammed shut, sealing them in darkness. The last thing they heard was a whisper carried on the cold air, so faint it might have been the wind, or something pretending to be it. Stay, the harvest begins. The darkness swallowed them whole. For a moment, no one moved, no one breathed. The only sound was the echo of the trapdoor slamming shut above their heads, sealing them beneath the earth. Emma's phone light flickered weakly, barely illuminating their pale faces, and the dirt walls pressing close around them. The air was heavy, wet, metallic, and alive. Cole! Try the stairs, Dane whispered. His voice trembled more than he wanted it to. Cole rushed forward and slammed his shoulder against the underside of the trapdoor. It didn't budge. He hit it again, harder this time, the wood groaning but holding firm. It's jammed! It won't move! Jess's voice broke. Who closed it? There's no one up there! The light trembled in Emma's hand. Something's wrong with the air. Do you feel that? The others froze. The ground under their boots vibrated slightly, like something massive was shifting beneath them. The low thrum pulsed again, slow, steady, unmistakable. A heartbeat, the land, Emma whispered, remembering the words carved into the cellar wall. We feed the land, and it feeds us. Don't, Dane snapped. Don't start that creepy shit right now. But the thumping sound was growing stronger, closer. The scarecrows standing against the wall loomed in the dim light. Their shadows stretched unnaturally long, reaching across the floor toward the group. Jess took a step back, eyes locked on the nearest one. I swear it just moved. Cole swung the flashlight toward it. The beam wavered, jittering across the grotesque face, stitched lips, rotted skin, and glassy eyes that seemed to shimmer with reflected light. For a second, they could all swear those eyes blinked. Okay, let's get out of here, Emma said, her voice cracking. She grabbed Dane's arm and pulled him toward the stairs. Cole followed, pounding on the trapdoor again, shouting, "Help! Somebody! We're stuck down here!" But no one answered. The heartbeat turned into a steady rhythm now, like drums beating deep within the soil. Then came the whispering, faint at first, too faint to understand. Dozens of voices, overlapping, childlike, soft. Jess pressed her hands over her ears. Stop it! What are they saying? Emma asked. Cole turned his head slightly, listening. The whispers rose, merging into one horrible chant. Stay! The harvest begins. Stay. The light from Emma's phone dimmed again. The battery icon flashed red, then died completely, plunging them into near total darkness. Only Cole's flashlight remained, its beam shaking violently as he tried to steady his hand. Then they heard it, the scrape of straw against wood, slow, deliberate. One of the scarecrows took a single step forward. Jesus Christ! Dane yelled, stumbling backward. He tripped over a pile of broken boards and crashed to the ground. The impact knocked the flashlight from Cole's hand. It spun on the dirt floor, casting wild arcs of light around the room. Every wall seemed to move with it, figures shifting just beyond the beam's edge. Emma dropped to her knees, fumbling for the light. When her fingers brushed against it, something else brushed back, a rough texture, like burlap soaked in mud. She yanked her hand away and screamed, "Emma, get up!" Jess shouted, pulling her by the arm. The rumble beneath them intensified. Dust rained down from the ceiling as cracks split through the walls. The floor trembled, uneven, as if something massive was crawling underneath. Then, with a sound like tearing fabric, the ground opened near the center of the room. A black, glistening mass began to rise from the split earth, like oil, thick and sluggish, glimmering faintly in the weak light. The smell hit them first. Rotting meat, sulfur, and soil soaked with blood. Cole backed away, shaking his head. No, that's not real. That's not. The thing pulsed. For an instant, it took on a shape, something vaguely human, its surface rippling like liquid flesh. A dozen mouths formed and vanished along its body, whispering in broken voices, Feed the land. Jess screamed and sprinted toward the stairs. She pounded on the trapdoor with both fists. Let us out, please! The wood shuddered once, as though something on the other side was leaning against it. Then it began to creak open, just a sliver. Cole, it's opening! Jess shouted. Cole grabbed her and helped push. The door opened another inch. Pale red light spilled through the crack, glowing like the sun filtered through blood. The heartbeat sound filled the entire cellar now. Go! Go! Dane yelled. Jess scrambled up first, pulling herself halfway through the gap. Then she froze. Her body jerked suddenly, a choked gasp escaping her throat. Cole reached for her, shouting her name, but her upper half was already gone, ripped upward by something unseen. Her legs kicked wildly before being yanked through the opening. The door slammed shut again. Jess! Emma screamed. Her voice echoed back from the dirt walls. Cole stared up at the sealed door, trembling. She's gone. She's just gone. The whispering returned. louder now, circling them. The scarecrows had all turned, facing the group in a perfect semicircle, their heads tilted slightly in unison, as if listening. The ground beneath Dane's feet rippled. He tried to step back, but the dirt clung to his boots like quicksand. "It's pulling me in," he shouted. He fell to his knees, clawing at the earth. The soil climbed higher, swallowing his legs, his waist. Emma and Cole grabbed his arms, pulling desperately, but it was no use. The ground wasn't just dirt anymore. It was alive, breathing, and hungry. Dane's voice turned into a ragged scream as the soil reached his chest. "Help me! Hold on!" Emma sobbed, but the pull was too strong. His fingers slipped from hers, leaving streaks of blood across her palms. As he was dragged beneath the floor, the earth closed over him without a trace. Cole stumbled backward, breathing hard. "We have to move. There's got to be another way out." They turned toward the far side of the cellar, where a narrow tunnel seemed to lead into darkness. Emma grabbed the flashlight and started running, Cole close behind. The walls of the tunnel were rough and wet, dripping with mud that smelled like decay. Behind them, the whispers grew distant, but never stopped. "Stay. The harvest never ends." They ran until the tunnel split. Cole went left. Emma went right. Her breath came in sharp bursts, the light shaking in her hand. She thought she could see an opening ahead, a faint glimmer of moonlight. Then she heard Cole scream. "Cole!" she called, turning around. No answer. The scream came again, louder, closer, cut short with a wet sound, like fabric tearing. "Cole!" The whispering was back, right next to her ear now. She spun around, but there was nothing there, just the tunnel walls, slick and pulsating like veins. The flashlight began to flicker. She forced herself forward, heart hammering, feet slipping on the wet earth. The light finally caught on an opening ahead, a ladder leading up. She dropped the flashlight and climbed, her fingers scraping against the rusted metal rungs. She pushed at the hatch above. It moved, groaning, then gave way. Cool night air hit her face as she crawled out. She was back in the cornfield. The sky was grey with dawn, and fog rolled across the rows of crops. Her hands trembled as she looked around. There was no sign of the others, no car, no sound except the wind. Then she saw them, 4 scarecrows, standing in a neat line at the edge of the field. One wore Jess's jacket, another had Dane's baseball cap, the third, Cole's flannel shirt. Her breath caught. No! The last one was smaller, wearing her own torn hoodie. Its head turned slightly toward her, the stitched mouth curling into something that looked like a smile. Emma screamed. The wind carried her voice away, across the endless fields, where the stalks rustled softly, breathing in time with the heartbeat of the land. By morning, the fog had lifted. The old SUV sat by the gate, with its doors wide open. No footprints, no movement, only the wooden sign above the entrance creaked gently in the wind, its faded words swaying back and forth. The harvest never ends.
Please like and subscribe channel Fear Frequency for more horror stories. Thank you.